So this is a double question. I want you to grade Pineda on the typical grade school scale of A, B, C, D, or F for 2022 season and then 2023. A, B, C, D, or F.
It's funny because I think on Twitter, some people have, there's been a little bit of critique of us on Twitter and said that all those guys are now got to the point where they're just trashing Pineda. And what I would say is that I don't think Pineda is horrible. I mean, I think there's a tendency when he really can't fix that to be a little over, a little loose adjectives and be a little over aggressive on saying he's horrible. I think that he is really, really mediocre. I think tactically, particularly in the back, he's woeful. But to be honest, I think, he's a decent player manager. He has clearly they want to play for him. Offensively, I don't think that he's a genius or anything, but he certainly hasn't inhibited us. So, I would say this season I would have given him I don't know, B minus, somewhere right in the middle, right?
Look at B minus. As I say, he's a B. So I think
C plus.
You need to choose between a B or a C is what I'm getting at.
Well, it depends. If you say C is average, I would say C probably because, or maybe B, somewhere in right there. Because what I would say is that I do think that ultimately our team is better than our performance, right? I think that we underachieved. So that has to be a little bit on the coach, right? That you underachieve. I think, an average coach would have had us achieving just at the level that we should be at. And a great coach would have had us probably winning MLS. Yeah. I think you could win MLS with this team, right? So I think we've been a little under that. So I think last year you'd have to say the performance was terrible, right? He couldn't figure out, not only last year did we give up the same number of goals and was woeful defensively, but he could not figure out any way to unlock any of the talent of Araujo or Moreno. I mean, so I would have said last year offensively, you might say some people would say those players were terrible. I disagree. I think he just did a terrible job coaching them. So last year I would have given him probably a D, maybe this year a C. Okay. I think this year, I don't know what you would call your average, but this year he was average, maybe slightly under average.
So
better this year than last year, even with all the injuries.
Team did well. The team was much better this year.
Okay.
Right. And he didn't stop that. Right. I mean,
and a totally healthy team this year.
I don't think you can say he's a horrible coach when we ended up finishing second in the league in scoring. Now, do I think that's really him? No. But I don't think it's hard to call him a horrible coach. And we did get in the playoffs and we did get 6. Now, I would have said any kind of even slightly above average would have gotten us a home playoff game. We should have been top 4. And a great coach would have had us contending.
So I gave him a D on both seasons.
But a little more generous.
But it's not without validity because I asked, I saw on the Twitter sphere, somebody was looking at his overall win percentage between the 2 years. Do you know what it is, Dave? His winning
300.
It is 35% or between 35 and 36%.
I said 30%. So
yeah,
I was a little.
So according to ChatGPT, Dave, that is pretty horrible as far as a coaching. That would be definitely poor or below poor.
Yeah, his numbers are
bad, right? So at the end of the day, your numbers are all that matters. All I care about. I want to goddamn win, Dave.
His overall record.
It's horrible.
MLS is horrible.
That's what I'm getting at. It's horrible.
His overall record, with Atlanta United over 2.5 seasons. So he had a half season, wasn't great down the stretch with them. He had a whole season last year, was horrible. And this season we were, pretty mediocre.
Too nice. 3 reasons, Dave, that Pineda should not be the coach in 2024. And I want you to be thoughtful about it, not just ATL on fire hot takes. Again, 36% winning record, not fixing problems that we can look at it and film ourselves and say, these are simple things that need to fix. What are the things that you think unequivocally should be the reasons he should not continue as the coach into 2024?
Well, I would have said, look, he's had 2.5 seasons. Maybe you discount the first half season because, he just walked into it. But one of the things that is really, really true, And the reason why I think he has to go is because defensively, he was not able to improve us one iota. The same defensive record both years. And that means that going into a playoff game like this on the road, we knew we were going to give up 2 goals, right? And to be honest with you, that's shambolic with a team that could score 2 or 3 goals in every game, including in a road away environment. You have to be able to be in the game. Right. And we showed even when we had everything going wrong, we still scored 2 goals. Right. So to me, that is nuts. Right. So I think to me, the number one thing that I have is that he cannot fix the problems that we have defensively. He has no idea how to solve that.
Okay. So that's number 1.
So that's number 1. I think number 2, I would say I have always questioned some of the player evaluations. Probably the most egregious example was last year, Rios Novo.
No, that's not the most egregious, but
who is more egregious than Rios
Miguel
Novo?
Berry. But
Miguel Berry.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I would have said this year the example is Miguel Berry.
2 in a row.
It's
right?
close. Both
But he does this consistently. Even if you talk about, I'm not sure Abraham really is any better than Parata, but if he thinks he's so much better, why did it take so long for him to get on the field, right? I think his player evaluation is not good. Obviously, the Sosa, the opposite way.
Yeah, and
Sosa's a guy who there is no possible way. I don't care if you're a Sosa hater.
There's a lot of them out there that
Yes,
say he
but-
can't play.
But there is no possible way that guy did not deserve a chance to show whether or not he could play on the field. There is no way with his credentials, with the way he played, with the fact that the guy who he would have played over was Fortune or Josetu, who are both shambolic. Fortune, I apologize because he's so young. I'm not saying he couldn't get really, really good, but he wasn't ready yet.
Right.
And so honestly, it is unbelievable that within the mix, the entire time that we had the new team with the Saba, with the Silva, with the Muyumba, that Sosa never got a chance, period. So I would say the player evaluation on the positive and negative side, the fact that Miguel Berry kept getting chances and the fact that Sosa never got a chance, that to me is,
All right, so that's number 2. Player evaluation
is
number 2. Defensive fixes is number 1. Do you have a third?
Do I have a third?
Adjustments. Is he good at making attack?
Yeah, I would have said that, probably the rigidity, right? The no creativity, the no flexibility, right? The fact that the substitutes are always the one guy for the same guy.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you know it's going to be. There's no that was a curveball. No.
And I think overall what you would say about Pineda is, is it possible that Pineda is learning on the job and could get much better as a coach overall? Yes. I don't really think so, but maybe you could make that argument. One thing that you cannot convince me of, right? There are a very small percentage of truly elite coaches that basically are going to win a ton. The guys who will, if they are your coach for 20 years, they're going to have you in contention, 17 of those years, right?
Yeah.
And there is no way that Pineda will ever be that guy. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have that. That doesn't mean Pineda won't even ever win an MLS title. I don't think so, but he could. You get the right team or whatever, you could win. Sometimes it happens.
Well,
but what you have to be doing if you're a franchise, right? The coach is so important, right? You've got to be looking for a coach who will every single season put you in contention.
Yeah. And I say that and we could have gotten lucky and gotten through Columbus. I didn't think we would, but it was possible, right? And had we got past Columbus, I think we would have maybe been able to make a run to the cup.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works.
If
right?
we had the home field advantage, we had a decent chance of beating them.
Right.
But you cannot get into the top 4. The fact that you cannot even come close to getting into the top 4 with this squad is really damning. And we were lost right from that moment. We had no chance in MLS.
Isn't that number 1 really? We won nothing this year. We limped into the playoffs with a healthy squad.
Well, I would say that's the defensive tactics.
Third highest payroll in MLS.
I mean, maybe you would say number 4 as a corollary to that is our record on the road. His record on the road, he's won like what, 5 matches in 2.5 years on the road.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's ridiculously bad. I mean, I know in MLS is overall it's not so good, right? But he's really bad.
Yeah. So I think we agree that Pineda is sadly going to continue to be the coach heading into the new year. Do you agree with that? Or do you think
Let's see,
Lagerwey's...
Carmen, what do you think?
Do I agree that's going to happen, or do I agree
You
with
think
that
Pineda's
he should
coming
stay?
back?
Yes.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah,
right?
he's definitely
Okay.
coming back.
I think he's coming back. And to me, you know, the thing about it for those people, I mean, it's funny because there were a lot of people tweeting and they were saying, look, you know, I know it's sad for us to go out, but I'm optimistic because, you know, we played so much better over the second half. The players are good, you know, and I don't disagree with that. Right. But here's the thing.
No, you don't agree we played that much better.
Well,
you agree
we played much better. Offensively, we were much better team in the second half once we got those guys.
Yeah.
We
Were we
suddenly,
there? I
were,
mean,
yes. Statistically, goal scoring wise, we were a much better team. But so we just weren't any better defensively.
I just feel like we started, if you recall, we started the season off pretty well, like the first 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, but I
But
think
we weren't really scoring still. It was usually like Amada saving us at the end with like a nice kick, you know, but we didn't look that great.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So to me,
just trying to play devil's advocate here for a sec.
You're very good at it.
Yeah.
To me, the thing is that I just lost my train of thought. Hold on. What was the question again? Remind me. Sorry.
No, I've lost my train of thought. I was looking at the next question. Why don't we move on to the next question?
Well, I wanted to make a point is that that Pineda, you know, in terms of coming back, right? So, you know, we were a much better team. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Offensively. And the thing about it is some people are say optimistic, right? So we can just go build on that. And the answer is no, we can't. And the reason why we can't is because we are about to go through another whole turnover, right?
Yeah.
Miles is very likely gone. Almada, they say they're going to keep him, but even if they keep him, he's likely to leave next summer. The chances that Miles Robinson and Almada are here for the entire next season, which is what you would need to build on, are like really low.